Welcome back to the Island of the Arts. I'm Oliver Luke Delory, and in this episode we'll learn the benefits of expressing yourself in creative ways. Let's go.
There's a light in the dark, shining bright on the Isle of the Arts. An open mind, an open heart, let love rule on the Isle of the Arts. Tap into your creative spark, express yourself on the Isle of the Arts. Laugh and play, that's a start. Welcome to the Island of the Arts.
I believe that art, has changed me in totally different ways. I mean, as of now, art is my main income. Even though I'm still doing some wooden boat restoration and some other stuff for maritime museums, I still, art's moved me into a financial different place. So that's one way to look at it, but also when I observe the world too, I'm seeing, what if I'm painting a grass, or I'm painting leaves or wood, I'm looking at in nature differently too, how a tree can be, it's not just green, it's like brown green or blue green or yellow green and or new growth green, and it's all these different ways of looking at the world. So if I walk on a trail, it's like I'm observing those colors. So, and then the other subtleties spiritually, yeah, I mean, I see the world in a different plane, and not just superficially.
I know I keep talking about the word joy, but it really is, it's just one of those words for me that just encompasses so much. And I think it's allowed me to access it. It's also, I've accessed not just joy, but disappointment in what I've created. And so it actually gives me a huge spectrum of emotions. So anywhere from joy to despair because I'm not feeling creative that day and that I feel blocked and I don't know what to do. And so it's just about coming back from that place. So it really has informed, I think it's allowed me to be much broader in my emotional scope. And because of that, because I'm accessing more of who I am, rather than when I was working somewhere and I was working for somebody and it was a matter of arriving every day and doing my job and then going home. And so there's not a lot of you involved in that. But when you have the opportunity to express your art, your creative self in some way, shape or form, it just broadens who you are. It just gives you so much more to access within yourself, I believe.
It's been transformative over and over and over and over again. I've opened and opened and opened in terms of the person I am. I experienced multi-level abuse as a young one. My dad was an alcoholic, embattled by the war, and he was never able to get himself out of that. And he and I had a very deep and close connection intuitively. He was intuitive as well. So I understood that he loved us, but he couldn't help himself with how he behaved. But so what I did with the pain that was there and the chaos in the family was that I sang and wrote poetry and drew. I drew and I've constructed. So that all lifted my heart and let me carry on. And then when I left home to go to university, I went for a nursing degree, but I intentionally tried to heal what was going on with me because I was someone who was very, I was a listener. I wasn't very articulate. I couldn't really speak my feelings. I couldn't even identify them, really. But so I sought experiences that creative experiences that helped to open me, and as I opened, I learned more about myself, not just in this dimensional time, but my multidimensional self and the part of me that that is a healer, and through energy and all of that. And now I feel that what I create and is the healing work now, that it carries the energy. And part of how I feel that and know that is because of what people have told me. I'm transformed by the work, and the work transforms me, and then my work is transforming others just by their engagement with it. Even if they don't buy it, it doesn't matter.
I paint for me. I paint for myself. The fact that other people like my work, that's a terrific bonus, and it's good for the ego. It makes you feel good. But no, I paint because I love to paint, and I love to draw, and I love to sculpt. It's just, I don't think I could stop if I tried. I just hang on to, hopefully stay healthy and be able to keep on until I'm 100 or 101.
I am still learning that moments for pause, moments for rest, for contemplation are equally, if not more important than creating. Because I personally get into the zone and I will continue going, and I will continue going even if I'm receiving messages that I should rest. And that's just part of my creative process. Like, I love to stay in the moment, right? But self-care is essential to it. And I've even noticed when I make myself take a rest, then I come back a lot more refreshed, right? And so there's no point in creating all of this if your health is suffering at the end of the day. Even if they don't admit it, I think every artist channels, right? Every artist is bringing in information from the collective unconscious, and that's exhausting. That's really exhausting. So I feel that self-care is so important for the artist.
I feel very blessed to be so excited and turned on, to the art that I'm working on. I mean, it's like, I can hardly sleep sometimes. I get so excited, and that's often the case. But having the balance. So get up in the morning and get on the meditation cushion rather than get up in the morning and go straight to, the cello or straight to the computer. And sometimes straight to the cello is fine, don't get me wrong, it's fine. But generally it's better for me if I go straight to the cushion. It's like straight to the cushion is better than straight to the cello, definitely better than straight to Twitter.
And people will go to great lengths to not make mistakes. And it is the most limiting thing. If you never make a mistake, that means you're never doing anything new or different. And if you're never doing anything new or different, how are you going to learn? I think mistakes are the most maligned occurrence in humankind. It's like a mistake equals bad to everybody. I made a mistake. A mistake is just a result that you were not expecting. Mistakes in and of themselves are neutral. They're not good or bad. Everyone has a negative association to a mistake. And this is and it's in all walks of life. It's not just in art. Everyone is petrified of being wrong. Unfortunately, unless you're wrong, you can't know what's right. So I think a lot of people miss out on the opportunity to learn all sorts of things because they're afraid of making mistakes. I don't like making mistakes because it means that I have to do more work because I still want to get the result that I'm wanting. But I have learned more from mistakes than I have from anything, from books, from advice people have given me. Mistakes are the best teacher because you know what you did and it came out wrong. So you know, I don't have to do that anymore, right? That's out of the way. Go ahead. Some artist somewhere has this quote, which was told to me by my grade 8 art teacher, Miss Chow, which I always remember. And the quote is something along the lines of saying, the sooner you make your first 500 mistakes, the sooner you'll be to success. Something along those lines. The implication being that there cannot be any success without failure first.
This is kind of a sensitive topic for me, but my thoughts are very fragmented from my past. And so for me to logically try to put them on canvas sometimes can be quite difficult. And I don't always see what my art is about right away until maybe afterwards. I just know I see something and I want to paint it. Doesn't mean that I'm putting a message in that art right away. The message might come after. Yeah, it's interesting. But some of my intuitive pieces that I've made, I think just the process and the thoughts that went into that process are there. There's a lot of soul and a lot of, maybe there's blood, sweat, and tears in that piece, and you don't realize it until it's finished. And you're like, what did I just make? It doesn't make any sense. But in the emotional content that went into the piece, that's a different story.
Joseph Campbell said, follow your bliss. And my husband is a woodworker, a fine woodworker, and we followed our bliss by coming here. We put all our eggs in the basket and we came here. And so that's pretty powerful to do that. It's just so much a part of my life that I can't really separate it. I would say I have always been driven to have in my life a seamless life, so that my creativity, I produce a painting, I cook a meal, I walk the dog, I play the cello, all these different things I do, but it's all one thing. So if I look at a painting, I can't really separate out where that particular thing came from. It's like, and it's working toward a seamless life too, and dropping off things. And particularly in my life during times of really difficult times, challenging times, through loss, it is the only thing that really has sustained me, is being able to come to the studio and just let myself go into this zone of work. And I think when you do give yourself time to work like that, the unconscious really takes over, and I can produce work that other people could look at, the viewer could look at and see things that I haven't seen myself, but I know are true. And it's a goosebumpy feeling. It's a thrilling feeling, actually, especially when you're working in a more abstract way, that people can identify their own experience, because it also reflects the journey of life. Not only are we moving ahead in time, but we're also moving ahead, in our minds, in our imaginations. And everything that happens to us can be explained or flowed onto a surface as a painter.
I'm the kind of artist where I've made a lot of mistakes, and it's very rare that I will throw out a piece of art. I'll put it away for a minute, but with my flicking of art and my tea staining or dropped stuff or a smudge even with the charcoal that you don't want to erase because you know it'll make it worse, I smudge it more, or I will circle all of my dots with a Sharpie pen and say, hey, that looks cool, that was a cool, oops, and sometimes when I'm teaching even my kids, kids are so specific. Most of them want it to look the way it looks in their brain, and that just doesn't even happen for, seasoned artists. That just doesn't happen. And so I'll be like, nope, don't cry, we're good, don't wreck your paper, don't throw it, watch this. And we'll just move on, and I'll show them. Draw a little flower around that drop of paint, turn it into a bumblebee, and so to me, they're called happy accidents most of the time. I'm more of a, just work with it and see how far you can use it or push it or leave it and come back to it, and something will come to you. There is pieces where I'm like, ooh, I don't know how that's gonna go, but it goes, it works. it is eye-catching to somebody, it will please somebody. So just don't throw it out. Just save it and keep it and move it on to next time, later.
I feel a lot of my work has been more science, analytical based, and to me it feels like the opposite. So when I sit down and plan a painting and paint something, it closes all that off. It's like all encompassing to think about that piece, and it's more of a provides balance, I think, for me.
And if my life had taken a different course, if I had stayed in Vancouver, I had this fabulous office job, paid really well, loved the people, could not get out of there fast enough. It was a great job, hated it. If I had been a little bit more afraid of giving up that security, I would have stayed and I would have had a condo in Vancouver, and life would not be, I mean, I don't know that for sure, but moving to Gabriola, trusting myself, I mean, it's a leap of faith. I mean, I thought we were going to starve moving here, but everything aligned. At the time we were making art fridge magnets, so we made fridge magnets for artists. So we used their artwork, made the magnet, and gave it back to them for them to sell. Well, where better to move to, right? Now, in Vancouver, I had a contract with Ballet BC and with the Vancouver Opera and with other big clients. All that went away as I moved here, but I remember one Saturday we were up at the market and I counted, I had 8 artists selling my product in one place. And like, yes, it's like, we can do this, you know? Unfortunately, the divine decided that I needed to give that up. So I'm going, are you kidding? But we let that go. Actually sold it to a young person who learned very valuable business lessons through it. But yeah, without art, without creativity, without my dance, life would not, you know, have been really, I can't imagine what could have come into my life that would have been more worthwhile.
There's a kind of stillness and a kind of silence in creating. There's a wildness as well, you know. The connection to this feeling of, you know, what I call the beloved is, you know, this allowing yourself to be a channel for that creativity, which is all that creative energy, which is all around you and within you. And really, just really listening, really being still and quiet and listening and trusting the voices that are, you know, the voice that's coming through you, you know, saying, well, why don't we try this or why don't we do this? But I feel that I find something so deep and so beyond my own understanding and so filled with incredible love when I am just very, very quiet and very still in the studio or in my garden or in my writing process before I paint. And I long for that and I live for that now because I learn everything in that space.
In the next episode, we'll learn how creative expression contributes to a happy and healthy community. I'll see you here next time on the Island of the Arts.